the leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, how is everybody doing out there? I'm your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are listening to The Stafford Voice, where we are, yes, conservative in a world of liberal, and tonight, oh my goodness, have we got a lot of stuff to bring to you tonight. We're going to talk about some LGBT Mormons that got a little... Oh wow, they took some offense to some quote-unquote new policy in the church. Also, the media mafia put out a hit job on Ben Carson, but will he survive? Dun dun dun. Did black privilege force Mizzou president and chancellor to step down because of their hashtag white privilege? On this day in history, in 1862, there's a little something that goes along with that. Also, we are going to save a little time at the end for something. We just wanted to highlight something that someone just proved how stuck on stupid they are. That, and if we can get to it, I want to talk about whether or not we're seeing the return of the muscle car. You know, I love cars, but I think the big three are at it again. I want to talk a little bit about that if we've got time. If not, I'll figure out a way to get it out to you. And coupled with that is the top 5 list of most environmentally friendly vehicles for 2015. Oh, it's so cute. Blah! Whatever. Anyway, you know what? We got to stay on cue because, look, there's so much stuff going on tonight. John, that brings a tear to my eye. I've got a soft spot for the Mustang, and especially the oldies and the classics. Anyway, look, I can't get off topic. Look, I want you to know there are so many different ways to listen wherever you're at. Set this channel as a favorite, whatever you have to do so you don't get left behind. The last thing you want to do is be an old Mopar or an old Chevrolet getting left behind in the dust by the Mustang, by the Ford man. Don't get left behind. But if for some strange, crazy reason you missed the show, sit tight. You'll be able to catch the replay. There is no need to panic because, we've got you. In the case you aren't already following on social media, you can find me over on the Twitters at Stafford Voice. And tonight there was just a little bit of a special sneak peek into what we were talking about. We threw it up on Periscope. That was a lot of fun. It's so nice to see some of you guys joining me from Periscope, joining us in the chat room. Special shout out to Irvine Patriot for joining us tonight. Nice to see him back in the chat room. Also, you can follow me over on the Facebook. All you got to do is search for The Stafford Voice. You can follow all of our friends over at Polititainment as well, the little website that could, as some people say it. Follow my friends Angie and Clay over on the Twitters. That's where they're mostly active. Also, my good buddy Jason of According to Me. That guy is like my brother from another mother. I absolutely love that guy. He keeps me in stitches. Sometimes he makes me want to cry. But I've got nothing but love for that guy. So a big special shout out to Jason. Also, we're picking up station affiliates left and right. We've got a new one. If you haven't heard of, last week we announced that. I'm so honored that they've allowed us to join their station as well. So be sure to give some love to all the affiliates and the station wherever you're listening. Stay up to date with anything and everything over at polititainment.net and thestaffordvoice.com. And look, I want you guys already know this, but I love you guys. You guys are like family to me. You guys are more than just friends. I'm just going to be completely honest. You guys are like family to me. And this show is kind of unlike almost every other show that you will tune into. Why? Because sometimes it's the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio, but this show is completely listener-supported and funded. And one of the ways you do that is you typically shop on Amazon, and for that I am extremely grateful. And that's because you are clicking the little link on either one of those two websites and helping support the show and keep us on the airwaves. And for that, I'm so deeply honored and humbled by the amount of love that you continue to show us. So, sorry, I'm trying to pull double duty here and get this stuff out there, because right now I want to talk about the LGBT Mormons and how they took offense to this quote-unquote new policy in the church. And it's really not new, but it had to be laid out. They had to lay it out in some form or fashion. And that's because times have changed. The times have changed to the point to where the language we use has to be specific. You know, back in the Old Testament days, we knew it was bad. We were told, if you study the scriptures, it will tell you that homosexuality is a sin. We're also taught by Christ that we're supposed to love everyone. And I honestly have no qualms or quarrels with anybody in the LGBT community. I think, for the most part, they are a great, they're a great tight-knit community. They love and support each person. But I think that they needed to kind of slow their roll. And not really the LGBT community as a whole. I'm speaking about one tiny little group, the LGBT community of Mormons. Because yes, there are Mormons who are LGBT. And I need to get this out right now. Why is this guy continuing to talk about what happened with the Mormons? And well, it's because I'm a Mormon. Most of you guys already know that. I'm a Mormon. So when I saw this come across and saw so much of the crap that was thrown out there on the Facebooks or the Twitters, there were so many lies about what was happening. So there needed to be some level of clarity in this wave of anger and confusion. Because for the most part, that's what it was. Most of these people let their emotions get the best of them. And they didn't really stop and think, wait a minute, there's really nothing new here. Just the language had to be specified. It had to be clearly written. And I saw one article out there that said that this came from a Mormon mother of her 17-year-old son who happened to be gay, and she said it feels like they're extending an olive branch and hitting you with it. Well, not really. Calm down. Don't be so short-sighted. Look, the church is just reiterating its doctrine, and one of the pieces of doctrine is, in the eyes of God, marriage is what? It is between one man and one woman. That's it. That's a place, that is the primary place to raise children. Yes, there are LGBT families out there who do a great job at raising kids. But in God's eyes, He wants to see that happen between a man and a woman. Clearly, all throughout the Scriptures, whether it's Old Testament or New Testament, that point is driven home. So, what was all of this about? This was about, don't forget that the church, the language was already in place for those who practice polygamy, and those who teach inaccurate doctrine, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not preaching doctrine. I'm not preaching policy. I'm not preaching anything. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what really happened. So what they did was they classed homosexuality and same-sex relationships as in the same category known as what we in the church know as being in apostasy. So what does this mean? Well, I've got some snapshots here, and it's poor lighting here in the studio. I gotta get my lighting coordinator on that. It's right here in the handbook, and this handbook is more for those who are at the local levels who need clarity on how to act in certain situations. You know, when somebody is, I'm trying to find here, when they are transgressing, and it gives an overall guideline as to how to go about talking about someone who has maybe attempted a murder, or has gone through sexual abuse, or has an abusive spouse. So there's language in these handbooks as to how to go forward when something like that happens. And so the language was added in about same-sex relationships, homosexuality, and immediately people jumped on the bandwagon because there was language that was put in about children and what to really do about these children. And there's one particular section in the handbook, and I'll just read it to you, where it says, children of a parent living in a same gender relationship. It goes to define what that is. And then it says, talks about what things that these children are, what they can expect to go through as a youth. And when you want to be baptized in the LDS Church, if you are, if you're one of those in the church, we've got what we consider converts, which are those who join the church on their own. And then you've got those that we consider lifers, who were born into the church from parents who were already members, who are already Mormon. And so you've got these lifers who will, and we teach our kids that if you choose to get baptized, we wait until an age of accountability, which we consider to be the age of 8. Well, this language that was added into the handbook simply says that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until you turn of legal age. And here in the United States, legal age is 18 years old. So if a child living with their parents who happen to be same sex is just going to have to wait a little bit. They just have to wait. And if they get upset and want to leave the church and not stick around, then their heart and their mind really wasn't into it. In my humble opinion. When you go through adversity, you typically will be drawn closer to God. You're not going to allow things, something like this to say, look, I'm not going to belong because I can't get baptized at 8 years old or 10 years old or 12. Don't make me wait till I'm 18. But they even added in language that says you can, with special direction through the church, you can actually have those blessings of say baptism or other things like that. So one of the best articles there were 2 really good articles out there, and I'm sorry I don't have the links right off the top of my head, but one of them was from LDS.net, and they had a list of myths that a lot of people were continuing to push on social media. So to really shut down those myths, they provided answers to these. One of the myths was that it punishes children. And it really doesn't. What it does is it protects children. Because children are very influential. When you're living in a home that both of your parents could be polygamous, or both, wow, bad choice of language, both of your parents. All of your parents are polygamous, or you live in a same-sex household, or you happen to live in a Muslim household. Look, all of those things, you're just going to have to wait. Is the reward much greater? Yeah. One of the guys that answered that was actually from a gay Mormon who has a blog out there. I think it's gaymormonguy.blogspot.com, and he actually has a fascinating article and an outstanding outlook on this. And I would challenge you guys to go out there and find it. If I forget to put the link out there, it's called "Waiting on the Lord," and he talks about how he first went to BYU. And he was openly gay, and he served a mission. He went about. You would never guess that this guy was gay unless you asked him. There's so many myths about stuff like this, where one of them was how this requires children to reject their parents. And it doesn't. What it does is asks you to, the language that was written in here was, quote unquote, disavow. And to disavow something means just to say, I don't agree with it, I'm not a part of it. So, are you disavowing your parents? No, you're disavowing the act. You can still love your parents and not like what they're doing. That's what this was saying. What was another one? These changes are eternal doctrine. No, look, there's a difference between policy and doctrine. Doctrine does not change. Policies can change, but the doctrine of God will never change. And look, there's so much crap out there about this. If you want answers, honest answers, go out there and find someone who is actually in the middle of it. Go find a Mormon and ask them some questions. Don't just get out on social media and follow a couple of hashtags and believe everything you hear. Okay? Now, we are going to take a short break as we get ready for the question. The media mafia put out a hit job on Ben Carson, but will he survive? And during this break, we're gonna dive into Campaign Roundup. Now, if you're a first-time listener, Campaign Roundup is the good, the bad, and the nasty of what was said during the week from those who are out on the campaign trail. It's not all of them. It's just highlights. We're condensing countless hours of the crap that some of these guys are saying, so you get a better idea of what's really happening. So when we come back from Campaign Roundup, we're going to talk about the media mafia putting a hit job on Ben Carson. We'll be right back.
It's wonderful to be here. I will tell you, this is going to be something special. A lot of people are saying, Donald, you have everything going. The world is waiting, so why be president? Why? And the answer is, I have really nothing better to do.
What I am saying is that the general mainstream media all seems to move in the secular progressive direction. And, they would like to create a narrative that certain things are good and certain things are bad, according to the way that they see them.
If you look at the Tax Foundation, which is a nonpartisan organization that scores everybody's tax plans, they've concluded of every Republican major presidential candidate on that stage that my tax plan would generate the most jobs. 4.9 million jobs, would produce booming economic growth, would increase capital investment by 44%. And for every income decile, from the very poorest to the very richest, all of us would see double-digit increases in after-tax income of 14% or more.
I've gotten used to unfair questions from the media. It's sort of the way it is. If you can't handle a tough question or you can't handle an unfair question, then you really shouldn't be president of the United States. Hey, if you meant your comment about my face being demented in a Halloween mask as humorous, so be it. I guess you misinterpreted Donald Trump's comments about my face and thought those weren't humorous.
I'm sorry. The bottom line is I obviously don't come from a wealthy family. I had student loans I had to pay off. I only have one debt in the world, which is my mortgage on the home that me and my family live in Miami. We live in South Florida. We have a 10-year-old house now. Ultimately, I have one debt in the world. I have two debts in the world, actually. The mortgage on my home and the fact that America, I owe so much to this country because of everything it's made possible for me and my family.
All right, we are back. I am your host, Daniel Stafford, and yes, this is the Stafford Voice. So, late last week, the media mafia put out a hit job on Ben Carson. Politico, I know, Politico. You love him or hate him. Typically, if you're left-leaning liberal, you'll love him. If you're anybody else, you'll hate him. But they put out an article that alluded to Carson getting a scholarship to West Point. Then they tried to claim this or that, and claim that there was no record. And basically, the whole point of the article for them was to call him a liar and to throw him under the bus and back over him a couple of times. So then they secretly changed their tone when they got called out on it. Completely got called out on it. Look, Ben Carson is nothing but an open book, unlike Obama, who has had everything sealed. And Ben Carson, for the most part, is extremely proud, and kudos to him because he's got a lot to be proud of, is very proud of his past. He's not afraid to talk about it. He's not afraid to get out there and say, look, I had a meeting with General Westmoreland. I was led to believe that they were offering assistance to come to West Point. They saw something inside him and saw something in him that said, this guy's the cream of the crop. Cream of the crop, and we want this guy. And Carson said, thanks, but no thanks. I want to be a doctor. I want to do something really, really good with my life. I want to go out and change medicine. This hit job that the media mafia put out on Carson has done absolutely nothing to hurt him. And as a matter of fact, it helped him. I think I saw one stat where he increased by about 3.5. They raised $3.5 million over the weekend. That's incredible. Seriously, that is incredible. Here you've got the left that is trying to discredit everything about Ben Carson. And to be quite honest, look, if you're a liberal out there, or you're part of the Black Lives Matter movement, be honest with yourself. If you don't vote Ben Carson, you're a racist. I'm just going to call you out right now. You're a damn racist if you don't vote for Ben Carson because he's black. Everybody that voted for President Obama because he was black, if you don't vote for Ben Carson, it's because you're a racist. And speaking of which, look, this story had me seething as it unfolded. This stupid flippin' crap that we saw at Mizzou. And look, I've got some audio here that I'm gonna play for as the president of Mizzou was stepping down. Let's go ahead and play that real quick.
I am resigning as president of the University of Missouri System today. Change comes from listening, learning, caring, and conversation. And we have to respect each other enough to stop yelling at each other and start listening and quit intimidating each other through either our role or whatever means that we decide to use. Unfortunately, this has not happened, and that is why I stand before you today, and I take full responsibility for this frustration, and I take full responsibility for the inaction that has occurred.
Look, dillhole, if you wanted to take full responsibility, what you would have done is you would have suspended every single one of those damn football players. You would have pulled their scholarships and any other funding. You would have said, if you want to play this game, fine, play your game. You're no longer a sports player for this college. We will not tolerate that crap. Then I would have took that damn coach and I would have tossed him out on the damn streets for supporting them. Pinkle or Pinky the Brain or whatever the hell his name is, he can go suck an egg. These black students calling for leadership change because they didn't do enough? Kiss my ass. You wanted to publicly humiliate the Mizzou's president and the chancellor and force them to get out there and say, look, we failed, we didn't do the job, we didn't do enough because we've got white privilege. Look, you can take your black privilege and stick it straight up your candy ass. So what is their argument? They're saying in September, some idiots in a truck yelled racial slurs at the student body president. Hey, get this! The student body president of Mizzou just so happens to be an openly gay black man. I don't think Mizzou is overly racist, let alone a homophobic university. If you're racist and homophobic, you are not going to elect a gay black guy to be your student body president. And don't forget Michael Sam, you know, the openly gay black football player? Seems to be a lot of racism. Yeah. No. Look, in October, more slurs were directed to the student body organization by a drunk white guy. A drunk white guy yelled something stupid. Most recently, and this is absolutely disgusting, most recently, somebody, we don't know whether it was a guy or a girl, whether they were white or black or whatever, they drew a swastika in feces in one of the dormitory bathrooms. Each one of these incidents is and was, from the very get-go, heavily investigated. There's an ongoing investigation for each one of these incidents. But we want to force the president of the university to claim his quote-unquote hashtag white privilege? Kiss my ass. Your hashtag black privilege is nothing but racist. Oh, but you have to know that the White House had something to say, right? Yeah, in his briefing earlier today, White House Press Secretary Josh Not So Earnest praised the group, saying, quote, I think this also illustrates something that the president talked a lot about in the context of, in his campaign, that a few people speaking up and speaking out can have a profound impact on the communities where we live and work. Hey, jackass, that's the problem! When you get 30 football players out singing Kumbaya and holding hands and saying, look, you suck, you didn't do enough, we're black and we're proud, you're out. And what we want you to do is publicly humiliate yourself and say, we've got white privilege. It's absolutely sickening. And if you're in the chat room, I have to agree. Kelly, you are spot on. The odds are completely stacked against us. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You know what? We're going to take a break, and when we come back, let's completely lighten the mood, and let's talk about muscle cars. Let's talk about something fun. All these stupid ignoramus people out there talking about black privilege and white privilege and forcing Ben Carson to try and lie about things, putting words in his mouth and pushing a gay agenda on churches and this and that. Look, we've got serious problems in the world, and the last thing we need is to allow the voice of 30 football players to get out there and say, no, we're not going to play a game. Okay, fine. Don't play a game. We'll forfeit the game, just like you forfeit your contract. Anything related to it, you're out. That's what really should have happened. If the president of Mizzou and the chancellor really wanted to stick to their guns and take some sort of leadership action, they would have suspended each one of those damn football players and any other student that supported it and said, no, you're the problem. Don't push your agenda onto this entire university, because that's not who we are and that's not what we stand for. When we come back, we're going to talk about muscle cars. Oh yeah. We'll be right back.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name.
Whether you're an employee or business owner, when it comes to the correct course of legal action, it's the first step that is important. And make that first step with attorney Ted Hong. You need someone you can trust and has the experience you need when it comes to workplace and employment law. If you've lost your employment due to discrimination, false accusations, or being denied benefits, you need Ted Hong. Or if you're an employer who wants to ensure compliance with workplace regulations and labor contracts, you need Ted Hong. Ted and his team also cover family and property law and estate litigation as well. Ted has over 30 years of experience, and him and his amazing legal team will provide you cost-effective legal consultation and make the experience all about you and your needs. For more information or to set up a consultation, contact the law office of Ted Hong at 808-933-1919 or visit tedhonglaw.com. Ted Hong, an experienced and principled attorney you can trust. 808-933-1919 or tedhonglaw.com.
I don't know about you, but I'm not the type of guy that jumps into anything without first doing my research. And when I was looking for a holster, I'll admit I was having one heck of a time. You know what I'm talking about here. You find one you like, you try it on, it would be clunky. Another one fits good, but costs way too much. So you try on one last holster, it was slim, lightweight, priced right, but lo and behold, you slide your pistol in, and it falls right out. So what do? You've tried all these mass market holsters. Well, go custom. I know what you're thinking. I thought it too. Too pricey. Wrong. My guy over at Rebel Road Tactical will not only put together the perfect fitting, hand-molded, hand-assembled, custom Kydex holster, but you'll get it at an affordable price. Don't wait. Contact Rebel Road Tactical today at 682-217-4579. Again, that's 682-217-4579. Place your order.
It's the dramatic reinvention of talk radio.
Here come the Spy Dolphins.
The only thing that can cure racism is Robert E. Lee's penis.
Who named this cat Limberbutt McCubbin? A Trump-Biden debate.
Plugs versus rugs. Real serious nonsense. The show's so bad, you'll laugh at us.
The worst podcast. We obviously hold that title.
Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
And we are back. Sorry if the cat's in the background meowing like crazy at you. She does want to kill you. And that was a throwback from last week's show. So if you missed it, shame on you. Go back and listen to the podcast. That was really fun to talk about. Yeah, really. Cats really want to kill you. No, they just want to snuggle up next to you and purr like crazy. Speaking of purring like crazy, are we witnessing the return of the muscle car era? The big three are at it again. You can't deny this, okay? Look, I'm a Ford guy, tried and true, love my Fords. But I gotta give it to you. There are a few Dodges out there that I like, not so many Chevys. But when it comes to classic cars, love them. I will not pass up an opportunity to go to a good car show. And actually, here locally, we've got one that blows Good Guys Car Show away. I think last year they had over 1,600 cars and trucks. I love classic cars and trucks. You know, one of these days I'm going to wind up... One of these days, I'll probably be old and crippled, and I'll finally have the dream of owning an old mid to late 60s F100 and sit and spend my time sanding like crazy and never finish the project at all. But get this. Last week, I saw this come across, and I got super excited. Who was that had tingles running up their leg when they would hear Obama talking? Anyway, that was the kind of thing that happened to me. A 2016 Ford Mustang Cobra Jet. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They're bringing back the Cobra Jet. Only 50 of these are scheduled to be produced. They're basing the engine off of the Mustang GT's 5-liter, the new Coyote motor. But they're adding a supercharger, one that you can actually get out of the Ford Performance catalog, which is going to bump the engine up to about 575 horse. Comes with this is fun. Comes with a factory roll cage and Hoosier slicks. They swapped out the independent rear suspension. The independent rear suspension was fun, okay? Because it gives you, now if you like to run around on a road course, independent rear suspension is fun because you can tweak your suspension and you can, that's what road courses are all about. It gives you a much better ride, but when you really want a good track car, you need a good solid rear axle. Like the tried and true 9-inch. The Ford 9-inch has been tested beyond its limits. I mean, there's not a racer out there that would challenge that. If you're gonna build a hot rod, you need a 9-inch, a Ford 9-inch. They're bringing it back. They're putting a 9-inch live axle underneath the 2016 Ford Mustang Cobra Jet. Again, only 50 of them are going to be produced. Now, couple that against, here's one of the other big three. You know, you got the 2016 Dodge Challenger Hellcat. And this one actually could get anybody excited. It's got a 6.2-liter supercharged V8, 707 horse, 650 foot-pounds of torque. Anybody would love to get behind that, mash the gas to the floor, and go until, you know, about 5 miles down the road when the gas tank runs out of gas. Now, if you really feel like going slow and seeing the taillights of every single one seeing the taillights of one of those two cars, whether it's the Hellcat or the new Cobra Jet, go ahead and hop into the 2016 Chevy Camaro ZL1 package where it's got the 6.2 supercharged V8. It's only got like 580 horse. Or you could get the track-focused Z28. Trying to go with the throwback era right there on that one. It's got a 505 horse, big old 7-liter, straight out of the Corvette, but got plenty of potential with that one. Now, couple that with this idea. How about this for fun? The top 5 most environmentally friendly vehicles for 2015. Yes, let me read that differently, okay? The top 5 most environmentally friendly vehicles for 2015. This is put out by the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy. Okay, so they base this list off what they call their green score. Now, the green score is an evaluation that incorporates what they consider tailpipe emissions, greenhouse gases, fuel economy, manufacturing impact, and in the case of electric and plug-in cars, the electricity generation score. Or source, I'm sorry. So the higher the number, the better. The more environmentally friendly the vehicle is considered to be. Okay? So, coming out at the top of the list, number 1, with a green score of 61, go ahead, drum roll please, the Mercedes-Benz built Smart 4.2 electric drive. Again, green score of 61. Second place with 59, the Chevrolet Spark EV. Third place with coming in at another score of 59 is the Fiat 500e. And with 57, I can't help but read this one this way. With a score of 57, it's the Toyota Prius C. It's special. It's ranked number 4. It's good. That was a clap, not the clap. Anyway, okay. So, last but not least, number 5, green score with 57 again, the Nissan Leaf. You know, in a good, strong wind here in the Midwest, your Leaf is going to get blown down the road. Okay. I'm looking over at the time, and I'm trying to fit all this in. Slow me down if I'm going too fast. But there's so much I want to talk about tonight, and trying to fit it all in, because I want you guys to tune in to the show right after me. I think he's moved to be the cleanup hitter each night, and God bless him. He's a stallion, our station director. He's super cool. So I'm going to ask you to stick around and tune in to his show. It's absolutely fantastic. But before we go to a break real quick, I want to tell you about a really good friend of mine over at RWNJ Funding. These guys are fantastic. It is a crowdfunding site, yes. But look, I believe in these guys. I really do. I believe in them so much that when it comes time for us to do our pledge drive early in 2016, the only place I'm going to do that is RWNJ Funding. I believe in these guys so much because, in reality, they believe in each one of us. They don't cave to the PC game. They don't. They're trustworthy guys and gals. They hold true to conservative and libertarian ideals. They reflect constitutional values. They're not going to cave in and cancel your campaign because somebody got their feelings hurt or just completely thrown off the butthurt cliff. Look, they believe in you so much that they want to see you succeed. The last thing they want to do is hurt any of your progress. The best thing that RWNJ Funding can do is to help see you achieve your potential. So head on over to rwnjfunding.com. Again, that is rwnjfunding.com. Start your campaign today. If you feel like it, just let them know where you heard them. Where did you hear them? You heard them on the Stafford Voice. Again, RWNJ Funding. Absolutely fantastic bunch of people over there. Please head on over there, start your campaign today. Now we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we've got On This Day in History and Who Said That. We'll be right back.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, and no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
According to me and Bunny, this show's not big. It's huge!
Mr. Trump, what are your thoughts on how should we go about making sure we can protect innocent life in this country?
We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. We're going to be looking at that and plenty of other things.
Donald, question right over here. What are you going to do as president in regards to Common Core? What actions are you going to take?
We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. We're going to be looking at that and plenty of other things.
That is like he can say that for anything.
Yes! It's just insert issue.
A lot of things.
Donald, what are we going to do for lunch?
We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. We're going to be looking at that and plenty of other things.
It's According to Me and Bunny, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, we are back, and yes, it is time for On This Day in History. Back in 1862, General Ambrose Burnside assumes command of the Union Army of the Potomac after George B. McClellan was removed. And McClellan was liked by many soldiers and had a pretty loyal following, but there were plenty who detested him. Well, Burnside would have his own set of problems trying to appease those for and against McClellan within the ranks of leadership. Well, Burnside wasn't the obvious replacement. Most everybody wanted General Joseph Hooker, who commanded a corps in the Army, as did McClellan. He had a strong reputation as a battlefield commander, but he had problems of his own. He had a drinking problem and a thing for prostitutes and didn't have a favorable rating with Henry Halleck, the general-in-chief of the Union armies, that is. It was Halleck who urged President Abraham Lincoln to pick Burnside. So who was Burnside? Well, he graduated from West Point in 1847, and he served for 5 years before entering into private business. He tried to develop a new rifle, but his firm went bankrupt when he refused to pay a bribe to secure a contract to sell his weapon to the United States Army. Well, Civil War broke out and became a colonel in charge of the 1st Rhode Island Volunteers. In 1861, he fought in Battle of Bull Run. 1862, fought in Battle of Antietam. After that, he assumed command of the Union Army of the Potomac, and not too long after a battle against Robert E. Lee, officers would begin mutiny against him, and General Hooker would take over in January of 1863. After the war, he served as governor of Rhode Island and as U.S. Senator. He died in 1881 at the age of 57. Some say that his unusual facial hair inspired the word sideburns. But on this day in history, on November 9th in 1862, General Ambrose Burnside assumed command of the Union Army of the Potomac. All right. It is the long-awaited segment that most people try and stick around for because they like to guess. That's right, they like to guess who said that. And by the sound of that tone you just heard, that's right, it's time for Who Said That. This week is starting to become a go-to around here, I guess. Because every time her mouth opens, something stupid comes out. It really does. This week is no different. And being out on the campaign trail, unfortunately, she just kind of spouts off weird, crazy stuff, and this week was no different. You just have to hear what she had to say. Check this out.
We're in a period of one of the worst refugee crises that we've ever faced. It's an international problem, and I think we should have more of an international response. But then we have to ask ourselves, why is this happening? And why is it happening? Because of terrible governance, because of corruption, because of conflict, because of climate change.
That's right. That was none other than Hillary Clinton talking about the refugee crisis in Syria, and she ends it by saying that maybe it's because of climate change. Look, I don't have to really go too far into detail on that one to explain that she is completely stuck on stupid. She's just completely stuck on stupid. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Well, you know what? I'm checking the time, and for some weird reason, we were able to fit everything into the show tonight. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this week. And God willing, the Stafford Voice will be back next week. You can follow me on Twitter at Stafford Voice. Look me up on Facebook by looking for the Stafford Voice. Email your questions, comments, concerns, love mail, hate mail, whatever it is. I will do my best to answer that in a timely fashion. Send them to thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. Again, that is thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and until next week, thanks, and God bless.